In this video, I will be completing the Aft Superstructure. Essentially, that means adding in details. I need to construct the lower Searchlight platforms, add in a mounted binocular, install the gun director, some davits, and install the searchlights. For this stage of the construction for the Aft Superstructure, there aren't many plastic components that I need to use. Almost everything is replaced with components from detail upgrade kits. The parts that I need from the base kit are the pillars for the lower Searchlight platforms and the mounted binoculars. So I start by removing those and cleaning them up. Next, I'm going to construct the lower Searchlight platforms. The platform that sits on top of the pillar has been replaced with a resin components from the FlyHawk detail upgrade kit's detail upgrade kit. There is a hole molded into the base of this component that fits into the top of the pillar from the base kit. So that's easy enough to just install as a replacement. In addition to that, I need to make a small adjustment to the opening for the platform. A little bit of resin needs to be filed out so that it can fit into this slot neatly. That's easily achieved with a round file. Once happy with the shape and fit of the platform and its pillar, and then install some support struts. These are photo etch components that come from the FlyHawk Super Detail Upgrade Kit itself. The biggest difficulty with installing these support struts is that there are no visual markings as to where they should be placed. So, to assist me with the positioning of the support struts, I placed 4 dots on the edge of the platform with a permanent marker. Position of these dots is intentional. Might be a bit difficult to visualize now, but what I'm trying to do is have 2 support struts, one's end to end, to run parallel to the front end of the Aft Superstructure. Once those 2 support struts are positioned, the next 2 go 90 degrees to those 2, and then the last set of 4 just runs in between those 4 cardinal positions. To actually install the struts themselves, I use the same process that I always use for this kind of photo etch. I dip the corner in thick super glue, place it in contact in the correct position, and then once all of the support struts are installed, I reinforce the bond using extra thin super glue that I apply with a wire. Now that one of these platforms are complete and I can hold it up against the side of the superstructure, you can see what I mean by a set of support struts running parallel to the front of the structure. I then repeat the process for the other Searchlight platform. That is all the construction that I can do before painting, so I now need to prepare the other components for painting. Essentially, that means removing MicroMaster parts from their base. I will need all 4 of these searchlights and the last gun director. The gun director has a white stripe that goes on the back of it. Since it's easier to mask off that white stripe using 2mm thick masking tape, I first paint the component in white, then apply the masking tape and paint the components in XF53, the color of Hood's superstructure. The other components will also be painted in XF53, that is the mounted binoculars, davits, support braces for the base of the gun director and its support, and, of course, the searchlight platforms. Once the XF53 has dried, there are some details that I want to paint in black. That is the cables for the davits, and what would be the inner cavity of the searchlights. After the black, I move on to XF79. This is declinoleum, the color that I'm using to represent quartzine. Now that the paint has dried, installation can begin. I'm going to start with the gun director. First, I slide this tube onto the base of the gun director, but I don't glue it in place because I want to be able to remove the gun director after this base is glued in place so that I can more easily access it to install the support struts. I then place a small drop of extra thick plastic cement in the hole where this base will go and insert the base into the hole. After giving the glue sufficient time to dry, I remove the gun director from the base. I did it this way because I wanted to make sure that the base was standing perfectly vertically, and it would be easier for me to determine that if the gun director fits snugly on top of it already. After the base for the gun director, I move on to the installation of the lower searchlight platforms. To install these platforms, I apply a small drop of extra thick super glue to the slots on the side of the superstructure, and then insert the platform into the slot. Once the platform is correctly positioned, I reinforce the bond using extra thin super glue. Next, I install the support struts for the gun director. These are installed in the same way as I installed the similar struts for the searchlight platforms. I place a small drop of super glue on the corner of the struts and then place it into position. I adjust the position, and once I'm happy with this position, I reinforce the bond using extra thin super glue. After the support struts, I install the mounted binoculars using a small drop of extra thick superglue that I apply to the base of the binoculars. While the glue is drying, I do a bit of touch up to the paintwork, starting with XF53 to remove the exposed metal where I cut these components off of the sprue, and then to touch up some of the glue around the Searchlight platforms that I'd used to fill in gaps. For the most part, if you see a glossy patch of thin superglue around some components, I'm not concerned about that. Although at this stage it does have a very high visual impact, the reality is that it's very flat. So as soon as this all gets covered with a gloss coat and then a matte coat, it's going to disappear. Now that I'm happy with the paintwork on this upper platform, I can install the gun director. Since this tube was positioned with the gun director in place, I know that it will fit in and sit correctly. So I apply a drop of thick superglue to the inside of the cylinder and then place the base of the gun director into the cylinder, quickly realizing they have it the wrong way around. So I switch it over to face forward. This gun director, even though it's in the aft position, it doesn't face aft when stowed, it always faces forward. It's then the Searchlight's turn. I place them into their holes on the platform and then apply a small drop of extra thin superglue to the base of the Searchlight to bond it to the platform. One thing that I almost forgot to install was this canopy for the gun directors. HMS Hood didn't have those large domed canopies, it had these flatter varieties. This came with the MicroMaster kit and it fits in quite well. I glue it down using extra thin superglue. The last detail to install are the davits. These are positioned on the corner just before the splinter shield goes into a circle around the Searchlights. To install them, I dip the base in extra thick superglue and carefully position it on the deck. There is one more detail that I'm not going to install now, and those are boxes that go behind the Searchlights and the upper platform. I'm not going to install them now because I intend to do a video where I construct and install boxes all over the ship. So it's my intention to install the boxes that should go on this platform at the same time as all of the others. In the next video, I will construct the aft pom-pom platform. This is another area of the ship that will require modifications. If you would like to support this channel or see how the ship looks when it is completed, then please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Cheers.